It has been a very long time since you have come to see me, Rabbi Moshe ben Avraham. Welcome. It has at that recluse in Divor. Thank you. And how have you been in the meantime? Being a renowned Exodus scholar has put a tremendous strain on my life, my privacy hardly being my own anymore. And besides, and if that wasn't really enough, haven't I of late been finding myself facing something so difficult to deal with intellectually that it has almost made it impossible for me to read even a single letter of our sacred scripture. I thought if I come see you, and that maybe I might be able to find my way again, for I can't talk to anyone else about it. You are one whom I have always known to have a good listening ear and a very generous, wise tongue. How would you go about explaining this something so difficult? I have now for quite some time been asking myself, what if the whole Jacob, Joseph, and subsequently the enslavement in the land of Egypt and the setting free from there never really happened? What if the Exodus never took place, that never was there a 40 years of wandering in the Sinai desert or an entering and taking over of the land of Canaan? What if all of it never actually happened? Our Jewish religion, our faith, is according to itself firmly established upon a particular event that took place in antiquity, and that event was the escaping out from the land of Egypt by the mighty power of Yahweh. I have come about to thinking that the whole story was all merely a product of oral and written literature. That is a pretty substantial claim to be making. It is, I know it is. May I ask, from where did come the Hebrews? Their exact origin is not known with any degree of certainty, but our sacred scripture has it that they had their origin in Éire of Mesopotamia, and that at some time early in the second millennium before the common era, they for some reason migrated under the leadership of Yahweh's anointed, namely Avraham, Prophet Avraham, from there to the land of the Canaanites, and eventually at some time and due to a severe famine in the land of Canaan, they migrated further, namely on over into the land of a deeply black-skinned people, namely the land of the Kemet Egypt. And it was in the land of Egypt that later they found themselves to be woefully enslaved and severely oppressed. And that from out of this terrible situation they were miraculously freed under the leadership of Yahweh's anointed, namely Moshe, Prophet Moshe. And that it was to Prophet Moshe that Yahweh was revealed, and from whom we have our faith in Yahweh by way of a covenant relationship. Yahweh had as such made us special above all the tribes of that region, and not alone of that region, but above every tribe the world over. Without that seminal event, we would not be able to call ourselves the chosen people of Yahweh. It is the Exodus which defines us, gives us our purpose in this world, in this life. It is ingrained in our collective memory, unifying us in a way that is firmly grounded in historical reality. That is what we believe, what we are led to believe. And here is the thing about it, the Exodus it is as if it had only happened yesterday, and that we were actually there ourselves, as it were, that we were fully of that experience. We don't feel it to be removed from us or us from it. We are as if ever reliving it down through the generations as we celebrate the Passover. This event of the past is ever living in our present and ever enriching us, it is. Each time we celebrate the Passover, we are as if personally being freed from the oppression and being brought into a land of freedom where we can, without interference, worship Yahweh. It all sounds most fortuitous, then why are you having doubts about it? Perhaps it is a temporary crisis of faith you are experiencing. No, my faith is as strong as ever it has been. The problem is rather that I'm having difficulty convincing myself that the Exodus ever really happened. This coming month, I will be 95. Since my late teens, have I been devoting myself to getting to the root of this supposed event. I have, in the duration, turned several libraries, several archives inside out in order to come to the truth. Notwithstanding, I have come to the unbelievable conclusion that it never actually took place. I'm absolutely sure of it. You mean the actual escape from the land of Egypt and the wandering in the desert and the taking over of the land of Canaan? No, the whole thing. The whole thing? To what extent do you mean the whole thing? The whole thing with Jacob and his sons, with Joseph and the eventual enslavement in the land of Egypt, with the escape out of the land of Egypt, with the 40 years of wandering in the Sinai, with the covenant given by Yahweh to Prophet Moshe in the Sinai, and with the subduing and taking over of the land of the Canaanites, the so-called Promised Land. I have not, in all my extensive studies, been able to find a single shred of evidence in any shape, size, or form, either of an archaeological, cultural, political, or geographical nature, which proves that any of it ever happened. There is not even a mention of it, and you would think there would be, or at least even might be, in any of the international affairs of the surrounding lands, but most of all, and most importantly, to mention no mention of it whatsoever, not even an ambiguous hint of it ever having happened in a single Egyptian hieroglyph. Plenty of other tribes are all there mentioned, but nowhere ours. Something is off, for not even the hero of the day, namely Prophet Moshe, is anywhere to be found in contemporaneous writings to our sacred writings. So, what are you saying? What are you claiming? I am saying that neither Jacob nor any of his sons ever left the land of Canaan. There was no going over by them into the land of Egypt. Rather, they were continuous dwellers in the land of Canaan. And knowing my people's character, they would, if they could, have wished for Egypt to be their promised land. It all never happened. But for the last almost 3,500 years or so, your people have been saying it did take place, so how can you say or claim it didn't? Do you have an iota of conclusive evidence that it never happened? The absolute absence, based on extensive lifelong research, of any evidence whatsoever is itself, I believe, the irrefutable proof that it never happened. Didn't your prophet Ezekiel clearly state that your God chose the Hebrews by making himself known to them in the land of Egypt, and promising them that he would set them free from their captivity in that land? And not alone that, but that he would bring them into a land where they could and would be totally free, a land flowing with milk and honey, a place of great plenty, a place where they could and would devotedly worship him and him alone. Yes, that is true, that such and the like is clearly written in a number of places in the sacred writings of the prophets and the Psalms, but that is as far as that story goes. It is only in the words, not is it to be found in any factual physical evidence. What so is your belief when it comes to Prophet Avraham? Again, I have found absolutely no evidence whatsoever that he ever even existed. In your book of Deuteronomy, doesn't it clearly speak of that a wandering Aramean, namely that Prophet Avraham, is presented as the father of the Hebrew people, one who, with his family, flocks, and herds, went over into the land of Egypt and took to sojourning there? And that at the time, though they were few in numbers, they did over time greatly increase in numbers. And it mentions, doesn't it, that the Egyptians treated them harshly, having made them their slaves. And that with the people pleading to Yahweh to be freed from such a terrible situation, that Yahweh had heard their pitiful cries, and having mercy on them, free them from their enslavement, had victoriously brought them into a land which they were to conquer, to make, and to call their own. This reference is said to be only the bringing together of a possibly much older quotation, but again that is all it is, a wording in literature, sacred scripture. It is a history of a kind, surely, but a history that is only of a literary world, to be more precise, of a liturgical world. There is in my findings no historical reality to back it up, none whatsoever. But doesn't the writings of the Hebrew Bible itself lay full claim that the Yahweh of the Hebrews is the one who entered, as it were, into the historic reality of the Hebrew people, and that it was Yahweh who had and continues to have a particular relationship with them above and beyond any and all other peoples, not alone in the region, but in the world? Again, only this is a reality in and of the sacred scriptures, in and of the sacred writings, the beloved literature, the sacred history of our people. Only to us alone and for us alone does it have significance. But why can't you just be like your fellow fervent believers and have full faith in your sacred writings, rather than trying to make them over-real, make them something which perhaps they are not, namely through historical texts? Surely faith isn't bound by historical events, is it? If something or other, a liken unto the Exodus, never happened, then our people has no beginning. There is no time which can be said to identify us as the creation of a people. It is our foundation story. Without it, we were never founded. If there was never such an event, how can we claim to be who we say we are? How can we lay claim to be the chosen people of Yahweh, the people of Yahweh? Was there no giving of the 10 words, the 10 commandments then? There was, of course, and by 10 implying many words, a compilation of many words spread out over time, but my claim would be, and I am totally alone in this, is that it didn't take place in Sinai, but rather instead throughout the land of Canaan. What about Prophet Moshe? A Prophet Moshe, yes, there was, but not the Prophet Moshe of the Exodus. A Prophet Moshe, rather, of the land of Canaan, who was called by Yahweh to say to the people, was perhaps much close ado to the following in kind. Listen, beloved of mine, to the laws and rulings which I am announcing in your hearing here today, in this sacred place, so that you will learn them and take every care to obey them. I am Yahweh, who, by way of my prophet Avraham, brought you out of the land of Sumer of Mesopotamia, where you had been in long living as nobodies in the midst of numerous other nobodies, along by the waters of the mighty Euphrates. From this day forth, you are to have no gods, no idols, no ideologies whatsoever beside me. Know this, I Yahweh, no God am, no idol am, no ideology am. Yahweh I am. In your hearts this clearly write, in your thoughts have this ever-dwelling be, and in your words spoken, it boldly proclaimed. You are not to make for yourselves shamanistic carvings or representations of any kind, of anything in the sky above, on the land around, on the ground beneath, or in the waters about you of Yahweh. For I forewarn you, if you do, I will severely punish you, that is for sure. You are not to misuse the designation Yahweh, for if you do, I will severely punish you, that is for sure. Observe always the day of Shabbat, to set it apart as holy above the other days. You have 6 days to labor and to do all your work you need to have done, but the 7th day is a day of rest, given over for Yahweh. And on that day you are not to do any kind of work, save to save a life, not you, your sons or your daughters, not your male or female servants, not your oxen, your donkeys, or any of your other livestock, nor have the foreigner be doing anything for you on that day, so that all can rest just as you do. Ingrain this in your hearts and minds. You are to ever remember that you were nobodies in Mesopotamia, and that Yahweh, out of a great compassion for you, called you out and brought you out from there with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore Yahweh has ordered you to keep the day of Shabbat for Yahweh alone. Be with this well understood. Shabbat is made for Yahweh, not is it for you made. Honor you must your father and mother, and your ancestors going all the way back to the dawning of Sumer, so that you will live long and have things go well for you here in this, the land of plenty, to which Yahweh has brought you. Do so, and Yahweh will continuously bless you till the moon fails. You men over women no dominion do you have, you women none over men. Either of you dare to try and exact any, Yahweh will punish you. Do not dare to treat your neighbor harshly, whosoever your neighbor be, filled rather with remembrances of just how badly you yourself were treated in Mesopotamia, and how you used to cry most pitifully day and night to Yahweh to rescue you, and how Yahweh, hearing your cries, lovingly brought you out into this place of freedom. You men, older or younger, do not dare to cross the threshold I have established between you and one another, between you and children and youths, between you and the beasts of the fields, the valleys, the forests, and the hills. You women, older or younger, do not dare to cross the threshold I have established between you and one another, between you and children and youths, between you and the beasts of the fields, the valleys, the forests, and the hills. Do not dare to murder anyone, neither one of your own nor any of those not of your own, for by Yahweh the life of the human is uncompromisingly sacred. And above all, do not dare to disturb frighten, or harm in any way the babe in the womb. Only Yahweh, Yahweh alone, is the giver and the taker of your life being not yours, that you can take it. You males and you females, enjoy away freely, within your marriage vows alone, the pleasure of physical intimacy. You husbands, do not dare to covet your neighbor's wife. You wives, do not dare to covet your neighbor's husband. Do not dare ye to covet your neighbor's dwelling, his field, his male or female servants, his oxen, his donkeys, or anything at all that belongs to him, even if that neighbor is a Canaanite or of any other people. Do not dare to steal from anyone, even a single droplet of water or a grain of wheat. Do not dare to give false evidence against your neighbor, even if that neighbor is a Canaanite or of any other people. Therefore, you are to be careful, highly careful, to do as Yahweh has ordered you. You are not to deviate either to the right or the left, to the backward, to the forward, or to the up or to the down. You are to follow the entire way which Yahweh has ordered you, so that you will live noble, happy lives, having all things go well with you and your descendants for as long as the sun rises and sets. Keep always before you that Yahweh will always be with you, will always love you. Yahweh it is who causes the myriads of stars to be. Yahweh it is who will cause your numerous descendants to be. By your noble thoughts and actions, a blessing to the world of their own day may they be. This is fundamentally all you need to know, and to be resting assured, income day, income night, come unfolding the eternity of the ages. Many wonderful considerations included there, Rabbi. For instance, above all, do not dare to disturb, frighten, or harm in any way the babe in the womb, and to do not dare to give false evidence against your neighbor, whosoever your neighbor be. Indeed, recluse, the greatest for me being that Yahweh listens to our cries and upon them acts. And in your findings, have you come across any evidence that would suggest that to have been the case, that there was a compilation of many words given by Yahweh and spread out over time, and that they were not given in Sinai but in the land of Canaan? As of yet, no, not yet, it is only a hypothesis on my part, but I will passionately continue the research until my last breath, ever singing anew I will the old Psalms. Wonderful, that is the spirit. Then on my way now, with great gratitude to you I will be. No, not to me do it be, but to your own self, full surely. Oh, my mind truly, I know to be a wondrous place, its ideas and their ways immensely fascinating.